One of the things that we do that may be a little bit unique to us is we break those sessions into men's sessions or programs and women's sessions or programs. And it's funny, when we started doing this, no one really questioned that. But 2021, now everyone's questioning why we wouldn't just put everyone in the same room at the same time, and there's a very real reason for it. It just doesn't work. But men's and women's programs, can you talk about the genesis of that a little bit and why we prefer to do it that way?
Well, I mean, from a biblical standpoint, we're asking our students that are going through our program to make decisions to align their life to the life they were created to live.
Right.
We always say we believe that men and women are created equal, but they're created very different. We have different roles in this world. We have different roles in relationships and marriages. We have different roles in parenting. We have there's just differences in men and women.
Right.
And so it's important that we're able to separate those two genders and be able to specifically help them align their lives to the roles in which the way God intended. And so that's the way we've done it. We have a lot of the women's program tends to have a lot of spouses, but it also has active duty female service members and female veterans. And if we have a male spouse, then we would bring them into the men's program.
Right.
So that's the way we've handled it in the past.
It's funny. We used to say, I used to joke when I teach this class about the differences between men and women, that I think we all understand there's a difference between a man and a woman, and then everyone would kind of laugh. We're living at a weird time where people just are afraid to acknowledge that, and hopefully not everyone's afraid to acknowledge it, but men and women are not the same. It doesn't matter what the mainstream media tries to tell us. We're wired different, we think different, we respond different, and men are much more willing to be transparent in a group of men than they are in a setting where there are women present. And I think women are the exact same way.
Yeah, I mean, the men are going to talk about issues that are common that men face with other men, and that women may not understand. I mean, there's same-sex struggles that we deal with that, quite frankly, could be embarrassing or humiliating to see
Right.
in front of women, and that would really compromise the transparency that is needed in a program like ours.
Yeah, and I think it's important to acknowledge as well what some of these folks are dealing with. We talk about trauma, and I think a lot of people think that all that we deal with is trauma related to service. So, for the military, it's combat. For the first responders, it's something they dealt with as a police officer or firefighter or something. But so often what we are dealing with is trauma related to life even before the military or before their time in law enforcement. Things like abuse and relationship issues and substance issues and so many other things that if there is not a safe, transparent environment, the student will never deal with those things. It's crazy the things the men have dealt with that they're willing to share in that setting they would not with women around. And then particularly with the sexual violence stuff and traumas, women would not deal with those if there were men there.
Childhood sexual trauma.
Yep.
Or some of these women, sexual trauma from their service.
Yeah.
Which is, as I begin to understand and learn more about that through our program, it's pretty disgusting to know that many women, and just hurtful to know that many women deal with service while they're trying to serve our country. Being vulnerable females in a predominantly male environment, being taken advantage of, particularly by people with rank. And
Right.
So they need a comfortable place that they can talk about those things. Men, for the first time in their life, tough, combat-hardened men, like the warriors that you would never think, talking about childhood sexual trauma for the first time in their life.
Yeah.
The environment that they feel comfortable to be able to talk about something like that. We were able to create that environment. And one of the ways we're able to create that environment is having a men's program and a women's program.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've seen just tremendous success there, which is awesome. It's interesting because we cover those basically four groups with the spouses, I guess, and so then people will ask, okay, well, you have a men's program and you have a women's program. Why don't you have a separate program for first responders or spouses, break it down into all of these things. And in addition to having a program for men and a program for women, we've also learned that the real core issue is that men need to be men, service aside, what they've experienced aside, and women need to be women, because that's what God created us to be. And really that's the goal, is to be uniquely what God created us to be, even though we've done other things in our lives.
Yeah, Mighty Oaks isn't about us helping you be the best you can at your particular occupation. It doesn't.
Yeah.
What your occupation is, whether it's a housewife or a Navy SEAL, like is irrelevant to the type of work that we're doing at Mighty Oaks. We're looking at who you are as an individual, or you living your life the way God intended and being the man or woman God created you to be. And if not, let's help you align your life that way, because you're going to be able to transcend your hardships by doing so.